Welcome to the most deleted, shadow banned, demonetized, censored, and trolled channel on social media. Recipient of the Patriot Warrior Purple Q Award.
Hello, this is Dave from Net4Truth USA Inglorious Patriots. It is September 29th, 2021, and the time now is 20:49 hours Eastern Time here in beautiful southern North Carolina. What you are about to see and hear is a culmination of what Stoney and I have been telling you for many years. I don't agree with some of it. I would like to see the evidence for all of it. It is a cross between a report of what we've told you all of this time and a little bit of hopium with an H. It comes from beforeitsnews.com. And if you don't subscribe to that particular website, I suggest that you do, because they have a lot of interesting things. And I like to vet my information before I present it on this channel. But this is what we've been telling you for a long, long time. Why the evidence of it has not surfaced to become public knowledge is beyond me. But be that as it may, I am going to set my computer to auto-read the article to you, and you can take that with a grain of salt if you want to. But I tell you what, a lot of what that article says is empirical fact, absolutely true. I hope this is a little better. There's a little bit of glitching here because I'm testing 50 feet of USB extension cable. So bear with us and watch this. I think you'll get a lot out of it. Take care.
Operation Disclosure by Mark Bauman, contributing writer. Submitted on September 24, 2021. The greatest war story ever told. The light has won. The informed people that have done their research know parts of this story, some know almost all of it. But to the general public, the greatest war in history has been kept secret until this EBS, Emergency Broadcast System, that will be released in weeks if not a month away. The Alliance will release the horrible crimes against humanity in the coming weeks. Fake mainstream media controlled by the Dark Ones will be taken down. Yes, the mighty Alliance is made up of 17 countries' military forces, and backed by the NESRA/GESARA laws, Global Economic and Reformation Act, signed in 2015 by all 209 countries of this world. Unknowing, the people ask, who is the enemy? What is the purpose? Well, the ones who do not know fully, have sensed it, or know that there has been an evil part of humanity that has kept us in the dark. They have used every means possible for centuries, and we are learning, it has really been for thousands of years. This enemy is a secret satanic society called the Illuminati, since the 1700s, and before that, the extension of the Roman Empire, the Catholic Church. Many calls them the Deep State, or the Cabal today. For they have bribed, threatened, killed, or usurped people, churches and governments to keep control of everyone on the planet. Of course, most people do understand this, for power, money, and control of everyone and everything on the planet. Many published articles of the unbalanced financial statistics of the world have stated in public articles that the upper 1% control 60% of the world's wealth. I am to enlighten everyone that the 0.1% of the super rich control 99.9% of the wealth, and most of it is hidden in tunnels and underground DUMBs, deep underground military bases, at about 3, 5 and 10 kilometers down under our feet all over the world. I will tell more on these underground sanctuaries for the cabal later, but these hidden to the world places were used to keep their major crimes against humanity out of the eyes of the public, so they can do their evil without almost all from seeing it. This was to keep the normal population in the dark and uninformed. Please understand, this greatest war in history is a war completely different from storming the beaches of a country and taking it back. This is a war of information and infiltration. This war is secret from the general population too. They used all backroom deals, money, threats and murder to keep their evil will going. But the good people all over the world took a stand, and God's will of releasing this planet from all evil was planned for millions of years. The dark will turn to the light, as God's plan will stand forever on for humanity. For one of the greatest laws of God is to choose, for most of humanity, we were told lies from all sources, to keep us slaves to them, and even made us think we had freedom in many countries, but we did not, even in America. For even our great Constitution was usurped in 1871, and made into a corporation, and owned by the Vatican, as all countries on the planet were. The crown jewels in the positive direction were two great documents, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution of the United States. Of course, God or Prime Source Creator did send His Son, Jesus or Yeshua, real name, to not allow Earth to go too dark or evil, and to help save it. Until the time of the Great Awakening. This time is now and the near future. The beginning of the greatest transition in human history. Understand, the real story is that the Roman Empire was transformed into the Catholic Church, because the leaders of the fading Roman Empire needed a way to keep control, and used the Council of Nicaea, and the real Son of God, to use Jesus' name and story, by the dark side to keep control of the planet. This was confirmed by Q in a live interview we had. From the Q interview, Jesus was sent here to not allow Earth to turn forever evil or to the dark. Understand that people who are not conscious and still have a bicameral mind cannot think for themselves and need to be led. The conscious mind thinks for oneself, researches, leads him herself, and reflects on what is their purpose in life. The decisions made in 321 AD at the Council of Nicaea was to allow how Jesus was to be betrayed and worshipped. They decided what chapters or books were to be allowed in the Bible, and what were not. This led to a totalitarian Catholic Church, who decided most things in Europe at the time, who was good and evil, who was to be king or queen, until many groups broke away by the 1500s with Protestant churches, and as did many governments. But the Catholic Church did reign over the Dark Ages and committed many crimes against humanity, including leading the 199-year war with crusades over their truth of who is right. The Muslims or the Catholics on how they worship the same God. This is the same in modern times, to allow pedophile priests to just be transferred around and still commit the same crimes, and most have not been prosecuted. Many priests had children with their nuns that were killed once in birth, and there are many graves around some churches. This is part of Catholic Church's non-holy real agenda. In the upper parts of the hierarchy of the Catholic Church, they were worshipping Satan. The Romans learned this from a small group that they conquered years before. This was to get power and money. They really worship Satan. Plain and simple, if you do your research. Let us move up in time. The American Revolution. The war was won by farmers against the Crown of England in 1776. Then with the great founding fathers of America creating two of the greatest documents for a government in history, and everyone knows what they are. But the Crown of England was not going to let a major money income or land go without more fighting, hence the War of 1812 where they burnt the White House and burnt one set of greatest documents in history. People have to wake up to the fact that the European elite and the monarchy were not going to let America go. Infiltration was the next step. Therefore, in 1871, President Grant gave over power to the Illuminati, when the Republic of the United States got turned over as a corporation owned by the Vatican and run by the Crown of England. Look what BAR means: British Accreditation Registry. This should tell you everything about the maritime law in the American court system, not independent of the Crown of England. Next is the Federal Reserve, which is owned by the Rothschilds and is not part of the American government at all. The Federal was bribed and usurped in 1913 into existence to control the money of America by the Illuminati. Hell, the Titanic was sunk to kill the opposition to the Federal Reserve from being created. Therefore, the Rothschilds and the Illuminati controlled the U.S. currency printing and how it was created and used. All wars, including the Civil War, were created by the Illuminati, as the Illuminati member predicted 3 world wars. Albert Pike revealed in 1871 that the Illuminati-led world would have 3 world wars in the future. We did have 2. They made great profit, because their banking system supplied money to both sides. They got the results they wanted, created great sorrow and harm, so they can keep control of the world's population. One can call the 9/11 false flag created by both the Bush's presidents, the CIA, the Mossad of Israel, and the Twin Towers owners themselves. There were over $6 trillion spent on the fake terrorists that were hired to do the CIA and Illuminati bidding to have to go around the world and find a few people with bombs or guns that might harm a few people. This war was to keep going forever. That was their plan. Now, the World War III that Albert Pike talked about was supposed to be a fake alien invasion with real anti-gravity ships with robotic gray aliens inside the ships and having special forces really operate the ships. The Mighty Alliance has stopped this plan completely. Now to tell the real heartbreaking news on human trafficking, pedophilia, and adrenochrome processing, and where it comes from. There was big evil on this planet, child sacrifice by the Catholic Church and satanic cults, and killing children for a chemical to extend their life, called adrenochrome. This is where we get into the top profit of selling drugs on planet Earth, and beyond is adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is made from the blood of a child, the younger the better, that has properties. To make the adrenochrome, children are shocked electrically to get their adrenaline high, and they then kill the children to extract the blood with a great amount of stem cells. The high adrenaline-laced blood and the human stem cells will keep the blood drinkers young. From the worldundercover.com quote, what exactly is adrenochrome? In scientific terms, it is a chemical that is produced in the human body when adrenaline, also known as epinephrine, oxidizes.
Now, those of you who have allergic reactions to bee stings and other things that require EpiPens will remember a few years ago that the cost of these pens went up dramatically. And the reason being that the epinephrine in those pens, when it goes bad, turns into adrenochrome. That's why you have the warning to look at the pen through the light. There's a little window. If you're not familiar with EpiPens, just look them up. Look through the window, and if the liquid inside is cloudy, you are instructed to discard the pen. That is because if the liquid is cloudy, the adrenochrome has already formed inside the pen due to oxidation. Isn't that a nice fact to know?
How is the chemical extracted? A potential victim is terrorized, thus increasing the amount of adrenaline that is flowing through their body. They are then killed, and the adrenochrome is collected with a needle and syringe from the base of the back of their neck and spinal column. Once collected, the chemical can be sold on the black market at exorbitant prices. Get it through to your head, these hidden happenings real on this planet, that 6 to 8 million children get taken for mostly adrenochrome processing. This is pure evil. It did exist, out of sight on this planet. The Mighty Alliance has stopped all of it, by September 2021. The rescue of the children in the DUMBs in the last 5 years, who were used to make adrenochrome, child sacrifice for the satanic cult of the Illuminati, and for sex was led by special forces of the Alliance. Pedophilia is normal for many deep state criminals. This is no different to many Hollywood people, politicians worldwide, and even many of the royal families. Epstein Island will be proof of that, even though there are many more places and islands that this is carried out. Back to the history timeline, in the 1960s, JFK was killed trying to dissolve the Federal Reserve, and the deep state assassinated him for it. The money control is their main weapon. There are notebooks, thick ones. The Alliance has the exact scenario to take down the cabal. But it has been in high gear since the 9/11 false flag. The plans have been developed over that time. The Alliance goes back to Howard Hughes and Nikola Tesla in the 1920s. The Q team was formed by JFK in the 1960s, and after his assassination, 200 U.S. generals and admirals aligned with the Alliance started the plan to take down the deep state cabal. It has been 6 decades in the making, and the current plan has been created and modified with the help of the military and using quantum computers for future timeline scenarios. The QAnon group of 200 loyal generals and citizens that were concerned and involved that American would be taken over by socialism. After September 11th, the Q group made their winning plans to be a win, no matter what the deep states does to counteract it. Understand, with Operation Mockingbird in the 1950s created by the CIA. This was media takeover operation. The deep state has controlled 90% of the mainstream media and the major internet companies. Knowing the Republican Tea Party, they slowly destroyed the image, reputation, and heart of just conservative Republicans on the fake news media. The deep state mafia media did the same to the QAnon group, who followed the Q drops posted on 4chan, or 8chan from October 2017 to December 2020. People need to understand, this was a way to bypass the fake news to get information to the military and the public for the real truth. President Trump was the first one to shout out fake news to the public, just one of his major accomplishments. President Trump was attacked endlessly by fake media. Also, President Trump was the first to use Twitter to bypass the fake news networks to make sure his words did not get twisted by the corrupt press. The major wins and concerns over the last 5 years. President Trump's election in 2016, with a great win for the good side. Trump's loyalty to the real people of the United States was a major blow to the deep state. Hillary was supposed to win. With Dominion computers running, the deep state thought that to swing 20% of the switching votes over to Hillary would win the election. They just did not understand the awakening of American people to the same old crap that Hillary offered. I never saw that much mudslinging ever in the election, and Hillary paid for it. The American people could finally see right through it. Military action was needed to cut the head of the snake off as soon as possible, even before Trump's inauguration, with taking down the top 13 Illuminati families. Let me tell you about the first major action taken by the Alliance, and it was multi-raids at the same time on December 24, 2016. President Trump was first elected on November 8, 2016. Trump met with the military generals and admirals on November 9, 2016, to discuss the takedown of the top 13 families of the world's most powerful mafia called the Illuminati. Know that President Trump was selected by our great military, and Admiral Rogers met with him in 2014 to convince him to run. Since Admiral Rogers was head of the NSA, he knew that Trump was clean and without corruption. Back to the first raid that determined the direction of the planet, to the light, good, or the dark, evil. They all lived in Venice, Italy. Why was this the perfect time to take down the top families? This was the last day of the satanic festival of 3 days, and the Alliance knew they would all be at their homes. The military knew that the climax of the static ritual was to sacrifice a child. The criminals were vulnerable then. The Alliance assembled the best Special Operations, Delta Force, and Navy SEAL teams, and were assigned one family's home each. All top criminal families had to be taken down that night, and not one operation could fail. The fate of the world was hanging on these operations that night. All operations succeeded in wondrous fashion. Much gratitude to the military, who was a part of that wonderful operation. I hope you will be honored and have a movie made of this major part of history for humanity. Understand about the evil underground safe haven for the Illuminati operations. There were over 3,500 dumps worldwide, with 10,000 miles of magnetic levitation trains in tunnels built by the Illuminati connecting most major DUMBs to trafficking children, people, drugs, and processing adrenochrome. The mighty alliance has been taking out the tunnels and dumps really since the 1980s, but the real push has been since President Trump first took office. Gene Decode kept all us annonce informed for years of the progress of the tunnel and DUMBs worldwide by the pattern of earthquakes that were about 3, 5, and 10 kilometers down, all over the world.
Many of my longtime subscribers will remember that I covered the earthquakes under China Lake when they happened. 7.1 magnitude earthquakes with 400 aftershocks. It's not something that happens in nature. It's something that happens when you have explosions deep underground.
His decodes were perfect to keep up on the secret war with the Illuminati. What is the proof? Well, a normal earthquake has P and S waves in the signal, whereas a tactical nuke used to blow up tunnels does not. The weapon's explosion has only one wave, which is why you can tell the difference. When they are exactly at these depths, it is clearly not fake. You can see the patterns on the world earthquake map, form tunnel directions too. Also, we would get earthquakes at negative depth, meaning that the explosions were in Earth's atmosphere. This was cloaked anti-gravity crafts of the Illuminati being taken out by weapons from the Alliance, once they started to try to escape. Hell, real proof was that recently there are salt water geysers in the middle of Greece now, because what was there before was a magnetic levitation train tunnel that was taken out by Alliance forces. At one point, in the takedown of the tunnels and D.U.M.B.S., the Alliance lost about 200 special forces in an underground tunnel off of Iceland. They thought the deep state agents were going to surrender, but once Alliance forces got there, they set off bombs and blew everyone up, including themselves. We need to honor their great sacrifice. The real reason for the Notre Dame fire was to stop the child sacrifices that were about to happen on Easter weekend. The Alliance warned the people inside to get valuables out of it, and 5 days before Easter Sunday, the Alliance hit it with a DEW, direct energy weapon, laser weapon, from a space satellite, or a TR-3B U.S. Air Force anti-gravity craft. This happened on April 15, 2019, and was a major win in the secret war with the Illuminati. This was a warning to the Vatican to stop all child sacrifices. I found out later that about 600 children were planned to be sacrificed that weekend, to try to resurrect Lucifer himself into a body. You do not think this can happen? Ask again and research. Biden did not win the election in 2020. It was major fraud that Trump and the Alliance allowed to happen, not only to arrest people who have done this for decades, but to not ever allow it to happen again. This is to reveal to the American people and the world, for it has gone on forever in every country. President Trump, who we knew won the majority, but really won by 80.4% of the real vote, also monitored by the QVS, quantum voting system. This will be revealed soon, and President Trump will take office again, in grand style too. Once the EBS goes off. We do know that Biden really just got sworn into the old U.S. corporations that Ulysses S. Grant allowed to be formed in 1871 by the Illuminati. Grant was a drunk, and got that paid off, just like many politicians and government people of today. The original Constitution was changed by these traitors back then. Currently, this fake corporation is bankrupt and defunct, and many patriots do not know that. Fake Biden is president of absolutely nothing, except the 10-square-mile area of D.C. that is really not part of America. About 80% of Congress members have been arrested and charged, the same as all of the Supreme Court. It was determined by the military that these two entities that allowed Biden into office without a proper due process were captured entities. The deep state threatens with 6 suitcase-style tactical nuclear weapons if Biden is not allowed to go into office.
𝐕𝐢𝐥𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐲 and I were in D.C. on January 6th because we wanted to witness the takedown and the perp walks of the entire Congress who were supposed to have been arrested that day. However, that didn't happen because there were credible threats of nuclear detonations somewhere in the United States if any of the cabal were arrested, and I reported on that as well.
The alliance did not allow Biden to have the nuclear football, nuclear weapons control suitcase, and any access to the Pentagon, or intelligence from the NSA, or the Department of Defense. Gene Decode reveals in early September 2021 the alliance has control of the cabal tactical nuclear weapons. The Department of Defense released on September 21, 2021 the finding and disarming of 11 cabal nukes used as leverage by cabal to prevent their arrests. It is all over for the deep state rats. Bring in the justice and arrest, let it rain special forces on these bastards. Understand, our Constitution has a way to make sure that in order to turn over to a so-called new elected president is legal and lawful, the military had to take over the country, and by March 6, 2021 determined there was massive voter fraud, and the Department of Defense reinstated President Trump as Commander-in-Chief on March 11, 2021. The Illuminati are behind the American takeover, with the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, to infiltrate our government and take over. It has been in the plans for decades, because the American military have become awake to the knowledge the Illuminati finances both sides of all wars to profit and create great suffering of the population. The American military does not play those games anymore. In January to February 2021 timeframe, the CCP allegedly had troops in Canada and the Mexican border to come over into America after Biden took office at about 250,000 to 300,000 range. The CCP had bought property in Oklahoma to place troops there too. The alliance made good on their threat back to the deep state to take them out when CCP troops went through underground tunnels in New York State too, and we think in Pennsylvania from intelligence received. The first 25,000 Chinese troops were taken out in their underground D.U.M.B was by AF-16, who released a bunker buster bomb. The F-16 was hit with countermeasures and was flying cripple over Michigan after the release, where the pilot ejected to safety in upper Michigan somewhere. The other DUMB had 50,000 troops in it and was deeper tunnel. The military used the rods of God launched from a satellite, which is tungsten steel telephone pole-shaped projectiles that can penetrate up to 10 kilometers down without using any explosive device. The impact is enough to destroy over a large area. The Chinese troops on the Mexican border and Canada have been taken care of months and months ago by alliance forces, from sources. The takeout of these underground DUMBs was confirmed by multi-military sources. The exact timing of the Taiwan troops and American troops in battle with the CCP in mainland China is not known, but from my intelligence, from the Taiwan government it was in early February 2021. We do know there was an American carrier group that was operating in the South China Sea and air-to-air combat did happen, and the Red Air Force of China did suffer many losses that day. We do know that 3 Navy carrier groups, each carrier group has 100 ships, were off the west coast in the Pacific, and 2 Navy carrier groups off the east coast in the Atlantic at one point in time to protect our borders. The alliance forces were clearly taking out tunnels and D.U.M.Bs under mainland China months and months before that, from reports and updates on the so-called earthquakes that were exactly 10 kilometers down, where Gene Decode knows this is take out of these underground evil safe havens for decades of this major criminal activity of deep state operatives. Alliance Leader of Canada has confirmed the CCP is kaput, as she says it. This was 2 months ago. She also stated on September 22, 2021, that if you report that there are now Chinese troops on Canada soil, you will be arrested to go to what she calls a SPA. SPA equals military firing squad / hanging.
Well, my friends, we've been telling you about this for a long time, too. And last week, I took my metered dose of horse paste. If you remember, if you're a subscriber of mine, I will leave a link in the video for that video. And this is ivermectin. So, let them take the channel off. I don't give a shit. I'll say what I want. If your doctor won't prescribe it, you can get it on Amazon. Follow the link in the description. It'll take you right to that video. I eat a dose of that, and nothing happened to me.
Know that medical professionals pushing this experiment chemical mix, that is not a vaccine, will be prosecuted by the International Nuremberg 2.0 court system in the future. Understand, in any drug or injection, the patient has to be informed it is experimental, or else the caregiver can be charged for that crime, and they will be prosecuted. Understand, arrests have been ongoing for the past 5 years, and with ongoing military tribunals all over the world. Queen Romana announces that 2.7 million cabal members have been executed so far by September 2021. For the new Earth and its direction, humanitarians will lead the way to rebuild the planet with technology that was hidden and to stop all hunger, poverty, no one without housing and no children being harmed ever. We will do it with zero-point energy, a way to free energy, hydrogen or electric cars, food replicators, anti-gravity technology, and the crown jewel med beds or celestial chambers to fix all ailments for the body. No one will be left out on the planet, and all will share in the wealth and abundance of this great human planet. The first major transition of the planet will be in the next 3 to 6 weeks, from multi-sources, but exact timing is unknown. We do know this is a major transition for humanity.
Please subscribe to all of our channels. The links to our currently active channels are in the description section of the latest BitChute videos. We will phase out our DareTube videos because the techno-Nazis are in control of the major platforms, and it is not worth our time and our effort to support them anymore with no share of the revenue that we generate for these malicious Nazi bastards. I will be posting to bitchute.com/net4TruthUSA and UGETube.com primarily, and will be on DLive and Trovo.com and Parler when it comes back online. My current channels will be posted in the description section of the latest video on bitchute.com/net4TruthUSA. I apologize for the inconvenience, but this is now 1932 Nazi Germany. Until we take it back, that's what we have to do to get to the truth. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com/spotlight/net4truthUSA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you.